broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. And you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains. We gon' walk it out and ooh.
Hi, my name is Oma, your host on Straight Talk with Oma. Straight Talk with Oma is an online magazine program designed to bring divergent opinions on conversations around social, political, religious, and cultural. It was birthed in 2020 amidst the coronavirus pandemic and the exigencies of the time. In 2020, we had over 15 episodes with over 10 credible panelists on our program. I'd like to take this moment to thank all our panelists for 2020 for a job well done. May I also thank our viewers, our friends, our fans for your likes, your comments, and your shares.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Straight Talk with Oma. How are you doing, guys? Please let me know you're here joining us. I know quite a lot of people have already joined. How are you doing? It's always a pleasure to have you join us. And for quite like 3 weeks ago, from about 3 weeks now, we've not been live because of some technical issues, but we are here today, and I'm delighted to be on the conversation with an amazing personality. Today's conversation, I know and I believe, is going to be quite interesting, and she's someone who is not afraid to jump into the mud of controversy like me, and so I'm super comfortable to be here with this personality. The word feminism has been laden with lots of controversies. On many occasions, you have heard and read that from many people make ignorance or half-baked opinion in the state of the definition of feminism or the ideology. Recently is the upsurge of interest and remarks by some highly placed religious leaders, and detestfully so is the expression of deliberate ignorance by some women. I call that deliberate ignorance because when you know something and you just deliberately put yourself in the place of ignorance just to or play to the gallery or satisfy the ambition or interest of some kind of human being, you know. So today on the conversation, our guest is one of the few eloquent feminists in Nigeria and across the globe, Nkechi Bianze. Nkechi Bianze is one personality smeared in controversy over her fluency in expounding the tenets of feminism, challenging some cultural norms, depleting the women folk, and questioning religious tenets that uphold patriarchy. She's like me. I also like to be in the army dissident, and of course, most of my friends know. Nkechi Bianze is a gender equality advocate, feminist, and an influencer. She is a mechanical engineer by qualification and works as a database analyst. Nkechi Bianze lives and works in Canada. She is happily married. That's another point again of of, of controversy again. So my first encounter with this enigma was when she made a post about her encounter with religious people. Her points were facts, yes, because they resonated with me as at that time I was going through some stuff too. So it was kind of gladdening or satisfying to find someone who shares that sentiment with me at that point. So I decided to punch further and started reading her posts, especially the challenge or challenges on culture, patriarchy, and others. I also followed her philanthropic activities. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, yours truly, Nkechi Bianze. Hi, Enke.
Hello, Oma. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Oh my God. You know, I told her when I spoke with her first, I said to her, put in your social media personality, your writings, and your eloquency on some controversial issues, and then putting your voice, putting it, juxtaposing it with her personality and her voice. When you get to know her, you would never believe it's the same Nkechi. Just like me, when
I
people
know
see me,
I get that a lot.
it's amazing. No wonder him the same man fell in love, because if it's me, I will also fall in love with you. Truly, I will like. Are you serious? Is this Nkechi or another person? Because I get that too. A lot of people, when they see me, they say no. When they visit and I'm in my normal self, they say no. Are you acting? Is this the same Oma also? I said this is me. Yeah.
You know, when
Welcome
you write,
to.
people create a visual impression of you. And
Eh,
a lot of the times, people's writing attitude do not exactly match their real life natural attitude. Yeah, because people write from different points from where they speak, and I haven't studied. I wouldn't say I know why, but everyone tells me I come across differently from the way I write.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. I'm sure lots of them that are listening to you will be like, no, is she the one or not the one? Anyways, it's good to have you here today. So let's start from the top. I know I have read a brief about you and what you do, but who is Nkechi Bianze?
okay, this is how I describe myself. Nkechi Bianze is just a young woman living her life. I was born in Nigeria, raised in Nigeria till early adult age before I moved to the UK and then to Canada. And I lived pretty much I grew up pretty much normal, maybe a little privileged, but yes, that's it really. I wouldn't say there's anything spectacular from the average Nigerian girl growing up, going to school with disciplinarian parents and you know, that's it. Except you
Interesting.
have any specific questions about Nkechi, and I would be more than happy to answer. And maybe during the course of this interview, I would reveal more about myself.
Oh, but you've said much already, so that's pretty interesting. So let's talk about what is feminism and how did you get into feminism?
Okay, feminism, it's simple. It's the advocacy for equal opportunities, advocacy for equal rights for women, you know and it's simply because just the way you have the Black Lives Matter, which is a movement that came about because the historically blacks and minorities have been marginalized and discriminated upon. The feminism came up because historically women have been discriminated, they've been considered inferior to men, and that's the reason feminism came up. And it's simply the advocacy for equal rights and opportunities, politically and socially, and yeah, just give men and women equal rights and equity where necessary. And that's really a sum total of what feminism is. I know sometimes people want to, it's not as complicated as it seems, but there are reasons for the controversies, which we are going to discuss later. And how did I get into feminism? I didn't really wake up one day and decided to get into feminism. I grew up and realized that I was this way, and when I went to the dictionary, I saw that feminism is the actual description for people like me. Right from time as a child, I've always questioned a lot of things. I remember as a child, I was less than 10. I can't remember. I think I was 8 or 9. at the time, and I was watching a movie with my dad, and they were punishing and sending a woman on exile. She committed fornication or adultery, you know, with a man, and they were sending the woman on exile. So I asked my dad, why are they doing this? Or my dad said, it's because she did this with this man. She committed this. I said, okay, so if she committed this with a man, why are they punishing only one person? Why are they not punishing two people? Because two people did it. So
Mm-hmm.
if indeed she did this with a man and they want to punish, the punishment should be for both people. So I started reasoning like that before the age of 10. And my dad looked at me and was like, I think I'm raising a feminist without, and I've always been like that. I've always questioned why, um, it's getting better these days. I've always questioned why the preferential treatment to guys. As a child, I never understood it. It never made sense to me that someone should have a preferential treatment or should be treated better simply based on the fact that um you know they are males. So I really did not get into feminism. I just grew up to realize I'm a feminist.
Okay. So because I wanted to like tie it to your childhood, but then you had graciously dived into it to say, okay, perhaps there are growing up, you have brothers, were they given that kind of preferential treatment that, sometimes some things are in our subconsciousness and we somehow, as we're growing, we start playing it out and questioning them, were there
Okay,
some
I will
sort
answer
of
that question. Actually, I have one brother, and I have written about this in a lot of the articles I've written and posted on Facebook. If we are basing strictly on my family background, I have absolutely no reason to be a feminist. You know why? My parents do not believe in treating males better than females. I grew up in a house where my father and my mom will tell you clearly that none of their children is more important than the other, whether male or female, that all their children are equally important. And I will also tell you this brief story. When it was time for us, my siblings and I, to, graduating from secondary school, it was time for us to go to university. Um, my only brother is the youngest of us. And when it was time for us to go to university, and my parents decided that, oh, they are going to send us to university in the UK. I had a few uncles coming to tell my parents, you don't need to spend that amount of money on girls. Wait till your male child, your son grows up, then you can spend it. These are women. My father was like, my children remain my children, whether they are males or female. And my uncle was telling my dad that they're going to get married, they're going to bear another person's surname. My dad was like, whether they change their surnames, they get married and change their surnames, my DNA remains with them. They are my children forever. And there is nothing, and there is no marriage that is going to change that. So what I'm saying in other words is that based on my own family background, I have absolutely no reason to be a feminist because my parents did not give preferential treatment to male children. However, I always say that my feminism and a lot of what I advocate for comes from a place of empathy. When I advocate for um, feminism, it is not because I come from a home where females were treated less. When I advocate for child rights, it is not because I come from a home where children were not treated well. When I advocate, I don't have to experience something to advocate against it. I think human beings, I notice something with humans that sometimes they need to be at the receiving end of a discrimination or an oppression for them to know that they have to advocate for it. No, I always tell people that I would be a feminist if I were male. I don't have to suffer something for me to advocate against an oppression. So, from my background, I had it pretty good, relatively privileged, if you would say. But the world doesn't revolve around my family. I wasn't a child bride. I
Absolutely.
advocate against child bride. I got married over 30. I was not abused as a child. I started having sex after the age of 20. But I understand that people go through abuse. It's not all about me. The fact that I don't experience it doesn't mean other people are not experiencing it. So a lot of the things I advocate for are not things I actually have suffered. They are not. I would say most of the things I advocate against are not things that has or have not are not things that have personally affected me. I look at the environment, see that people are suffering these things. I look at the environment. I know friends, in primary school. I know a friend that she and the brother finished from the same primary school. She was performing far better than the brother. But when it was time for secondary school, they put her in a low budget secondary school and put the brothers in, very good schools because the father believed that they shouldn't spend much on female children. So it didn't happen to me in my family, but it's happening to people. And so when I see that and I think it's not fair, I advocate against such things. So if you want to relate my feminism to um my childhood, I would say it is based on what I observed in the larger environment, not my immediate family. And it is very easy for any sincere person to observe that if you live in Nigeria or grew up in Nigeria, because Nigeria is a patriarchal society. Then when we're growing up till now, so denying it, saying you haven't seen this happen is trying to deny the obvious. These things happen, I mean, with more education, more families are getting aware, and it's better than it used to be in those days, right? But these things happen, and that's the reason I advocate for them. As long as there is someone suffering it, then someone needs to advocate for it, against it,
Absolutely.
or for it. It depends. Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful, Enke, beautiful. I would also say that from my own end, my association with feminism also has to do with what I had experienced, which is quite different from you. You know,
Yeah.
I remember, I recall that my mom had no preference for anyone per se. Every child was meant to do their own duties, like you have to sweep, you have to fetch water, you have to cook, whether you're a man or a woman, you have to cook. But then some years back, when my elder brother wanted to sell one of my father's property in Umuahia, and when they sold the property, because my father had two wives, our elder brother, who was my father's first son, not from my mom, when he got to the place of sharing the proceed from the building, he said, when my name was listed was listed for those who will partake of the proceed, he he canceled my name. He said I'm a woman, and because I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to share from the property, the proceed from the property, the sale of the property. And of course, my elder brother could not do anything because the other guy, was the first son. And that was how I was cheated out of that. Then I was very young, anyways.
And that was
But you know how life is. Later on, when these people have challenges, they start looking for you. You are no longer a woman at that point. Do you understand? You become a daughter at
yeah.
that point. You are no longer, a second class person. You are now the savior. But anyway, that's not the content of our conversation. But then this was the point for me to say, you know what, this is not right. You cannot do this. And so let me also join my voice to feminism.
Yeah.
So
I believe that as long as you're the child of your mom or your father, you are as entitled as any other of your siblings, whether sister or brother, and that was what my father did. My dad died in 2019, and everything he has was to be divided equally between his children. There was no, you are the man, you are the woman, nothing like that. So, and I think that's the way it should be, really.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the gains of feminism in economic development, culture, religion, the way you want to take it, the gains of feminism.
Okay, the gains of feminism is basically, I don't think there is much to talk except one of that dissect it in depth, but I don't think we need to go that in depth. The gains is that people will be treated fairly. People will not be treated, women will not be treated as inferior humans just because they are females, and males will not be treated like superior people just because they are males. I believe every human being should be treated equally as humans. That's what I believe, that every human being should be treated equally as humans. And the gains of feminism is simply fairness. We are not saying rob men to give to women. We are saying if there are 10 apples, don't give men 7 and give women 3. Share it 5-5. If there is a man and a woman there, share it 5-5. That is simply what we are saying. So it is fairness, general fairness for both males and females. And in a way, men are going to benefit from it because, and talking about patriarchy, there is something, it puts some, although patriarchy puts more burden on women, it also puts burden on men, making them the breadwinner, a situation where you see a woman who earns and decide not to contribute because traditionally the man should be the provider. A lot of men are going through a whole lot of burden to contribute, to provide for their families. I know that's culturally, traditionally, that's what they are told, and religiously, that's what they are told. I would take Christianity, for instance. I always tell people that no matter what is written in the Bible, there is one golden rule. The golden rule is love. Treat people with love and kindness. It supersedes all other rules. It's called the golden rule. And no matter what is written in the Bible as the man being the provider, if a woman works and earns money, love should cover everything, should supersede, and the woman should be able to provide and not let the man suffer and have to till when she's able to provide and do things herself. So when it comes to provision, being the breadwinner, that is where patriarchy bites men. So when we're talking about the gains of feminism, both men and women would benefit from it.
But you know that it is also what many men, I don't know if I would say generally, but I know that is the major issue, that men want to be the head. They are the head, they say the head of the family, so they have problem with feminism, but not knowing that actually feminism kind of uplifts the burden off their shoulders. Do you understand? I had a friend
I think it's short-sightedness or seeing it from
yeah.
just one spectrum. Like I do have conversations with some male friends how they are against feminism. On the other hand, they don't like the fact that once they start dating a woman or once they want to marry a woman, they are the ones to foot all the bills. I said, you cannot have your cake and eat it. Do you want traditional headship where you will be the sole provider, or do you want feminism where you and the woman will do things together? You take care of the children together, you sweep together, you do things. Whoever has the capacity to do it will do it. If she has money, she will provide. Do you want it? You don't expect a woman to perform all the traditional roles, and when it's time to perform your own as a provider, you start complaining. No, because that is actually the only thing that is expected of you, to be the provider. Every other thing, the burden is on the woman, and just one thing that is expected of you, you are complaining. No. You are either going to choose to be the traditional man, where you be the provider and provide for everything, including pay for the water she drinks, or you meet her halfway in everything.
Like I always say, all right, I say you cannot choose to be an Nze and also here and there you want to be the Albert Einstein of 2022 century. You can't do that. So you are either the same nine from beginning to the end, or you are the conventional
Nah.
man who understands the times, because a lot of men are walking about with their shoulders bent because of burden, especially financial burdens. And when they see a working class woman, they are also afraid. So I don't even understand what exactly these people want or what is the issue in this regard. But
Well,
anyway,
be, I think the issue is that a lot of strong, independent women might not give them what they want traditionally, like let them head them and do whatever they want, give them the benefits of being traditional patriarchal men. So they like that. Patriarchy is a mentality. They want the mentality of being able to be above the woman. A lot of men do not want women who are more intelligent than they are. They don't want women who are richer than they are, because if you marry a woman who is more intelligent and richer than you are, it's going to be difficult for you to raise the shoulder as the head. And that's why you see some women, I can't quote the statistics, but I read it somewhere that, especially in Africa, the more successful a woman is, the more likely she will get married later in life. Because a lot of these men just want girls that, are lower than they are. And when they go in with those girls, they'll be the ones to come and complain again that she doesn't have money. They provide everything. And I'll be like, you need to choose your struggle, because you can't have it both ways most often than not. You can't have it both ways a lot of the times. So, but it's a mentality, and sometimes I just feel a little bit of pity for them, because they grew up that way and they don't know what they are missing out on, living. They like a bit of Nicki Minaj and then Chioma Jesus and Beyonce. They want bits and pieces, and most times you cannot get all those bits and pieces in one person.
no, you can't. You can't. Yesterday, actually, to contribute to what you just said, I had a visitor yesterday, so we're talking about the conversation today, and she said, that she doesn't understand why in this climate Nigerian men are afraid of feminism. That's imagine driving and the car parks up somewhere. Maybe the man is in a meeting and you see wife calling, honey, this car has spoiled here. I'm leaving it here. I'm going, And the man, but meanwhile, the man is in a meeting, busy, and you leave his car there. Or is it not better to have a woman who, when the car parks up, she calls a mechanic without bothering you, and the mechanic picks up the car. And when she gets home, maybe after dinner, she will not be able to say, honey, while I was going to work, the car packed up and this. And the man said, why didn't you call me? Why will I call you? You're working. I call the mechanic. She said that she believed that any average Nigerian man should prefer this kind of scenario. Oh, we lost Nkechi. Hello, guys. I'm sure she will be back. We lost her. I think it's network. So, yes, welcome, guys, to Straight Talk with Oma. Welcome. She's back here. Okay, Enke, welcome back.
Sorry, I froze out. I had to call, so I had to pause it.
It's fine. So that, just like you said, I don't know, is it not better that you have someone who would take decisions without even bothering you, but maybe you're not in a place where she can get in conversation with you. So it's really amazing. with the way some of our men think or approach the issue of feminism. Let me bring up this question or opinion here, if you can see. I don't know if you can see it. This is from Ada Emeka Bright. She said, feminism is an ideal situation. In an ideal situation, it's right and very correct. But feminists in this climb, I guess she's talking about maybe in Nigeria, is not ideal in any form. Most feminists are not well schooled and groomed about their beliefs. They think it is worrying. Enke, what do you think?
Well, that is something I always tell people. A lot of people expect feminists to be perfect. I mean, she's talking about an ideal situation. Our country, Nigeria, is it ideal? The country is not ideal. Your patriarchy is not ideal. Non-feminists are not ideal, but you expect feminists to be ideal and saints? You know, there is something about the expectation with feminism. Everybody expects them to be perfect, but feminists are human beings and they are a product of the society that they exist. If your non-feminists are not ideal, they are not saints, they are not perfect. Your patriarchy princes and princesses are not ideal, they are not perfect. Why do you expect feminists in the same society to be ideal and perfect? There is no complication with feminists. A lot of people say, oh, feminists think they are aggressive. But let me tell you, I have met aggressive people. Some of them are feminists, some of them are non-feminists. Being aggressive is a human trait, and that can happen with feminists or non-feminists. But you know, when you say an aggressive human, the person is a human. When it's a feminist, it's an aggressive feminist. You know, I have met more aggressive non-feminists in my life than I have met aggressive feminism. But people try to blow up you know, every flaw from feminists, and for me it doesn't make sense to me. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a feminist. You just need to believe and understand
there
that
is no
men and
ideology
women
in life that is
deserve
perfect.
equal rights. You know, the expectations from feminists, I think it's unrealistic. And if you do not expect if you don't have same expectations for non-feminists and other member of the society who do not profess feminism, then it really doesn't make sense for you to expect such perfection from feminists. So when I hear people say, oh, feminists are badly behaved, there are some other non-feminists that are badly behaved. You just like you have good and bad non-feminists, you have well-behaved and badly behaved non-feminists. That's the way you have them in feminists. Amongst feminists, you have the good and bad people. Feminism doesn't make you a saint. It doesn't mean you're going to be a saint. You're going to be flawless. You know, so I have never really made sense out of such arguments. You know, I believe a lot of feminists are schooled. You don't need to go to. I studied feminism as part of my graduate study in Canada, but I do not believe you need to go to a special school to understand feminism. You just need to understand that men and women deserve equal rights. It is not complicated. You know, the people try to make it complicated, but it's not actually complicated. And amongst feminists, you have the good and bad. So I've never really made sense out of this feminist is a bad person. Yeah, but some of your pastors in church that are not feminists, they are Christians too. Some of them are bad. So being bad or good has nothing to do with feminism or non-feminism. Those are human traits. You know, feminism is simply whether you are a good or bad person. If you believe that humans should be treated equally, irrespective of gender, and they should be entitled to equal political, social opportunities, you are a feminist. It doesn't matter whether you are a murderer, because some feminists are murderers, but some non-feminists are also murderers. So it doesn't matter whether you're a murderer, you're a thief, it doesn't really matter.
I agree with you, and I want to say also that there is no ideology in this life that is perfect. There's no ideology. There are human factors in every principle or ideology, even policies. There are human factors that kind of distort it, you know. So I agree with you. So this Theodora says, what a brutal truth. Men want a little bit of Nicki Minaj, a little bit of Chioma Jesus, and I didn't get all that she said. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So let's move. We'll see come here. Okay, why I know you have touched a little bit on some of the controversies. That question from Ada Emeka Bright kind of brought it out a bit, the controversies. Why are feminists so angry? Is feminism anti-men? So let's
I will
talk
need to
about
answer that. I will need to answer that again because I did not answer it in depth.
Let's go
Now,
ahead.
I don't know about other people, but you know about the child marriage in the north, right?
Yes.
You know about how sometimes you see a 12-year-old, they give that 12-year-old to a 50-year-old man to marry. When you read those stories, don't you get angry? I get
Very,
angry.
very. Yeah.
Even though I wasn't a child bride, I got married well into my adult age. I get angry when I read about women who were taking, their inheritance, like you were taking off your inheritance. I get angry. Anger is not always a negative emotion. There are justified anger. When you see someone killing somebody else, you get angry, and it is positive anger. I don't know why people relate anger to something negative. When you see someone oppressing somebody else, you get angry. Now, whenever I hear about how child marriage, how rape, yes, rape happened to both male and female, but that's like saying racism happened to both white and black people. We know racism happened mostly to black people. That is the way rape happened mostly to females. Okay.
Absolutely.
When I hear
Yeah.
about how females get raped, when I hear about how female children are sold into child marriage, why don't they sell male children to child marriage if they believe people should get married so early? When hear about forced marriage, they force people into getting married, I get angry. And why will I think any normal human being should be angry at such stories. If you read such stories and you're not angry, there is something wrong with you. When you read about the story of slave trade, how they put chains in the necks of our ancestors, blacks, and took them to Europe, don't you get angry? Those
Absolutely.
are justified anger. Anger is not a negative thing. When I see people killing people, I get angry. Why would you kill this person? When I see women being marginalized, when I see some families asking their intelligent daughters to drop out of school because they want to channel all their energy on male children, I get angry. So when you say feminists are angry, the way women are treated in Nigeria, in a patriarchal society, it's enough reason. It's a justifiable reason. Collectively, there are enough reasons for feminists to be, any human being, feminist or not, there are enough reasons for you to be angry. So when you say feminists are angry, of course, when I want to write about child marriage, thinking about it now, it's getting me angry. And because I'm writing from a point of anger, I remember when I was 12, in GS12, and imagine them pulling me out from there. When I think about a 12, 13-year-old getting married, I remember when I was junior secondary, 12, 13, and I will imagine being in that position. I will get angry. And so when I write or when I speak about it, the anger would be there. Anger is not a bad thing. Jesus Christ was angry. Moses was angry. Abraham was angry at some point. Even God was angry at the people he created. So why do people relate, when they say feminists are angry, they think it's an insult? There is nothing insulting about saying someone is angry, because there are a lot of things happening on earth that should make any normal human being angry. So I think they come across like they want to insult. When people tell me I'm angry, I tell them, this is why I'm angry. If you're not angry because of this too, then there is something wrong with you. It is not wrong with me. If you see a child that is being raped and you don't get angry, I am angry about it because I'm seeing a little child that is being raped. It makes me angry. If you're not angry about it, it is not me that has something wrong. It is you that have something wrong with you. For you to see someone raping a child and you don't get angry, and you're telling me, oh, I'm a feminist, I'm angry. Yes, it makes me angry because I'm a normal human being, and that should not be happening. So saying feminists are angry, human beings get angry at situation. That is no news. I think the talk, a lot of people say it doesn't really, it's no news. It is normal for human beings to get angry at unpleasant situations. And yes, feminists are angry at the discrimination women face. And these discriminations, if you live in Nigeria, you know it already. I don't need to outline it for you. You already know that it's only recently in Igbo land that the court ruled in favor of women inheriting properties. You will see a man with all female children, and when he dies, his brother and all his relatives that have not seen him for 10 years will come and claim his properties where he has children. That's nonsense. And those are things that makes you angry. So if the reason for being, when you see an angry person, you don't just say this person is angry. No, you ask them, why are you angry? Then you analyze their reason. Is there enough reason to be angry? And I just gave instance of child marriage, child rape. If I'm angry because of child marriage, child rape, I have a good enough reason to be angry. And if you're not angry as a result, then you are the one with the problem, not me. Whether you are a feminist or not, whether I'm a feminist, you are the one with the problem. If you're not angry at seeing a child being raped, for instance, I'm just using that as an instance. So yes, feminists are angry because there are reasons to be angry. Nigeria is a patriarchal society and women are marginalized, and there are enough reasons to be angry. And sometimes when I see some women say this too, oh, some women are angry. Do you know why? I told you that I pretty much come from a privileged background. Those women think, oh, because it did not affect them, then there's no reason to be angry. But an oppression does not need to affect you for you to show empathy. These things that I'm preaching, I wasn't raped as a child. I'm not a child, but they didn't happen to me, but they happened to other people. And even though they didn't happen to me, for the fact that they happened to other people, they make me angry because it should not happen to anyone. So yeah, feminists are angry, and there are good reasons for them to be angry.
Yeah. And again, when you see the widows' rights in some parts of community, you should be angry to see that a widow is made to drink the water from her husband's cups. You should be angry. These
and I always ask,
I
always ask them, do they make widowers to drink water from their wife's body?
No.
Anything that is centered on one gender is a gender bias. Because if it is truly what they practice, they should also make men who lose their wives, widowers, to also drink the same water. But they do it for only women. That means it's a gender-based violence. Because it is not done, if it is done to both male and females, that is violence. But if it is done to just women, just one gender, it is gender-based violence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me bring up another point she raised again. Feminism, in my understanding, is equality, right? Which is a great thing. But with what I have seen in this part, they are mostly women. Now she's talking about feminists. Now that feminists are mostly women who have suffered heartbreaks and are fighting the men folk instead of preaching what it truly is. They are so fierce and angry when discussing issues concerning the men folk. That's my layman's view. Well,
okay. I have an issue with a lot of people who, like Ademeke, who have all the opinions about feminists. Now, feminists are doing it the wrong way. Why not do it the right way? You are so centered about how people are doing it the wrong way. See, when there is a practice, okay, if there is Christianity, some Christians are committing murder. Does that mean Christianity is all about killing people? Some Christians, some reverend fathers rape minors. Does that mean Christianity is all about raping minors? Now, you think what they are doing is wrong. What you're supposed to do is practice Christianity the right way. So Ademeke Bride should go and do feminism the way it is right and stop policing other feminists. Because like I said, I have not been heartbroken. I classified myself as pretty much privileged. I'm a typical daddy's girl, even till my dad died. You saw me preach it on Facebook. I had a pretty good childhood. I went to some of the best schools, both in Nigeria, in the UK, and Canada. I had it well. I had a good childhood, and I am still a feminist. The truth is, a vast majority of feminists I know, I don't know where Ademeke and people like her get their opinions from. A vast majority of the feminists I know have not suffered heartbreaks. I wouldn't call myself heartbreaks. A lot of us did not marry the first people we dated. I dated people and I broke up. So a vast majority of people did not marry the first people they're in a relationship with. I do not have, of all my exes, I was well treated. If you read my Facebook post, I always say I am good friends with my exes. I wrote it even a few days ago.
Yes.
I was well treated by my father. I'm well treated by my brother. I'm well treated by all the men I've dated. I have majority male friends. I have them. And fighting men folks, really, when I see a man, now that is also something I want to address. You know, each time I come on Facebook to write, men, stop beating your wife. You need to treat your wife well. What I see there is men hater. She's fighting men folks. And that is lame. I think it is dumb, and it is deliberate dumbness. When you point out what people, by the way, they only notice that when I talk about men. If you've read me since 2017, you see me take on women too, with the same amount of energy I take on men. Sometimes when I pick on women's case, I tell them, ladies, men are not supposed to be paying your bill. Go and work. You have the same 24 hours a day. I hit on them as hard as I hit men. But no, they don't notice that when I hit women. They only notice it when I hit men, because we live in a society where when you point out anything a man is doing, it's seen as fighting men. And I don't know, it's difficult to address that because I think it's a deliberate ignorance. You know, because to start with, I have never fought men. I have pointed out the evils men do against women. And if that means fighting men, well, that is your own choice of ignorance. And I will always point out the evils. When I see a man doing this to a woman and I think it's unfair, I'm going to say it. The same way I see when a woman, you see on Facebook, I also write, I attack women, especially Igbo women, about the way they maltreat their househelps. So me, I'm a person that when I see any evil, I will say it. Whether it is more prevalent with men or women, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to hit you hard. I will say the way it is. A lot of people will try to pamper you with the truth. Oh, you know, I'm going to tell you, see, you are a man. It doesn't make you special, more special than a woman. You're just a man, and you need to treat your wife well. I believe your wife is equal to you as a human. And when you write things like that, they'll say you are fighting men, because we live in a society where men are supposed to get away with everything they do. And once you point out they're wrong, it is fighting men. Since Ademeke knows what feminism truly is, I hope she's preaching it. Because there are some people I don't take seriously, right? The people I don't take seriously this is Christianity. You spend 99% of your time telling people how they are doing it wrong. No. Since you know how to do it right, do it right. You don't channel all your energy into telling feminists how they are not doing it correctly. Go and be the correct feminist, the way it is meant to be. And if all of us, you can spend 90% of your time being the correct feminist, and you can spend 10% of your time telling people the correct way to be feminist. But it's not you spending 99% of the time trying to pursue people. You know, by the way, they're always saying, preaching what feminism is supposed to be and everything. And non-feminists, are they also perfect? Like I always say, people just want to pick faults on feminists and what they are doing right or wrong. Non-feminists, patriarchal princes and princesses, are they also perfect? Are they doing everything the way it's supposed to be? No. We live in a world that is not ideal. You see people do Even with ideologies, you see people do it the right way, you see people do it the wrong way. Whether you're a feminist or non-feminist, people pick up ideologies, do it the right way, people do it the wrong. Even in Christianity, you see people practicing Christianity the way Jesus Christ would not practice it. So you should focus on doing the right thing. Occasionally you can, and let me tell you, people will learn more from you being a good Christian than telling them this is not the way to do Christianity. Why not live by example? So if people are not doing feminism the right way, do it well. And I'm telling you, a lot of people will learn from you. You know, I always tell people, even though I was not a feminist, I will write as forcefully as I do. And you can notice that when I write on other topics, when I write on education, when I write on other topics, I still write with a kind of fierceness than I do. So my fiercity, I would say my fiercity habit or my fiercity attitude or writing attitude is not linked to feminism. It's just me when I write, that's the way I talk. When I'm saying something I'm passionate about, no matter the topic, that is also the way I come across. So it's not linked to feminism or whatever. And I think people should accept that just like humans are imperfect, so also you have non-feminists and feminists that are imperfect. And we should focus more on, as you know, aspiring for perfection ourselves than trying to pick faults on other people.
Absolutely. Thank you. And just like you said, I would also like to add that, yes, I am also a feminist. And I know that I have had relationships that didn't work. I have had relationships that didn't work. And I also said that when I was a guest on Peace Talk with Mercy, when she asked me, she said, how do you cope? I said, see, all the people, I haven't had solid relationship, but the few that I have had, they are still my friends. The relationship didn't continue beyond a point, but we are still friends. All my exes call me and we talk, we laugh, we gist. That doesn't mean that everyone, like in every ideology, there are excesses, there are extremists, and there are those who are not really working with the full understanding of what
And
the
the main thing
ideology
you
is
should
all
look
about.
at
And that is not
is the ideology itself. The ideology itself, is it a noble one or not? Because human beings will always infiltrate. They are not doing it well.
Exactly.
Then you try to do it well yourself. Try to do it well yourself, and maybe you would be an example to people who are not doing it well.
Thank you, Enke. Let's continue our conversation. The next thing, okay, we've pretty much touched few of the controversies. Do feminists get married? But I'm coming to you at that later. Do feminists get married? Oh God. Okay, let's take, can a man be a feminist? Can a man be a feminist? Let's take that one.
Yes. Feminism is the belief in equal rights for both genders. It's not when a woman believes in equal rights, it's the belief in equal rights for both genders. Like some white Caucasian white people, they are actually part of the Black Lives Matter, right? So a white person can be in a movement, in a Black Lives Matter movement, so that's the way a man can be a feminist. Even though as a white, they are the one who are the considered superior in terms of race. Some white people support the Black Lives Matter movement, and that's the way some men support. They advocate equal rights, and they are also feminists. And my husband is one of them. So it goes back to what I said initially. You do not have to be to suffer something to speak against it. A lot of the things I speak against, I've not suffered. I already told you that. So it comes from a place of empathy that you are a man and you are in a patriarchal society that favors you, but you know, even though it favors you, it is not fair. And the way the society treats women is not fair, and you begin to advocate for equal rights. So it's still from a place of empathy that I don't have to suffer something to advocate for or against it if I think it is not fair. So yes, men can be feminists, of course. A lot of feminists I know are men.
Okay. Omolora, I really don't know. I think your comment is kind of either supporting the previous Ademeka Bright or something. I don't know. But just when you say more of bitter women, I guess she's saying feminists are more of bitter women.
She's
Anyways,
talking about feminism. Like, I would respond to her. I think she's responding to Ademeka. Most of the bitter women I've seen are not feminists. They are not feminists. Most of the bitter women I've seen. It's still you have I think people just throw around that word bitter because they think it's an insult befitting for feminists, and it's another thing I consider lame. Sorry. You just see someone and say bitter. Like, a lot of times, because I'm a feminist, a lot of people have called me bitter. I tell them, look, I have had it in life better than most of you. There is absolutely everyone I've been close to in life. I would say 95% of people I've been close to, starting from my parents and siblings, they have treated me well. They love me. I have nothing to be bitter. You are probably the one who comes from a family where you did not have it well. And there is nothing that has happened to me in this life that, would cause me to be bitter. And so I think people just throw around the word bitter because they think it's some kind of posh or woke insult. And those things, they don't take. When you see a bitter person, you will know a bitter person. And let me tell you, most of them are not even feminists. So, yeah.
And also to add that people use the word bitter women, especially when your opinion is totally different from the general opinion on issues. So they see you as bitter.
And I don't even understand, the bitter. I've never been really face all those maltreatment for men. I've never really, I've had it well. It is when I see someone who has suffered a lot trying to call feminist or trying to call me bitter because I'm a feminist, sometimes I feel pity for them. Really, I feel pity for them because I'll be like, I've had it better than you have from all spheres of life. So I think it's an insult. The way you just the person, you say they're mad. It doesn't really mean the person is mad, right? It's common in you, they crazy, they mad. That means it doesn't mean the person is mad. It's just an insult people try around to, get people angry. Or when people get to you are very stupid. It doesn't mean the person is stupid per se. It's just one of those random insults. And that's where I see bitter. It's just like equally saying you just a crazy. It doesn't hold any weight. It doesn't really hold any weight at all.
Okay, we're rounding off now. So let's talk about some of the controversies that have or that are trailing Nkechi Bianze. Let's talk about. I want to bring the issue of your marriage, which was the 2021 hell of controversy. In fact, the social media was on fire when the picture of your wedding came on live. And unfortunately, it came when you had even finished your wedding. And then so, but let's start with one first. Like I said earlier, the first one is that
I made sure I finished it before it appeared online.
Because maybe they would have trooped to your wedding venue, Okay, so let's talk about one. Killing of cheating spouses, calling it a revolution. Now, most of them, when you put your name, when anybody puts Nkechi, can you hear me, NK?
Yeah.
When they put your name on Google, let me tell you what happens.
So I will go.
Once you queue,
Yeah, I'm listening
anybody
to you.
queues.
Finish your question.
Okay, once anybody queues your name into the browser, the search engine, you will have so many things coming up. You see, the first one is the feminists who said who approved killing of spouses as a revolution. The feminists who insulted Igbo men. The feminists who, what will I say? The social media feminists who advised women against getting married, words. The feminists who hated the Igbo men, words and Igbo man. Nkechi Bianze nearly made me hate Igbo men. She practically condemned them in everything. That is from a Facebook user. And now she is married. And married to an Igbo man. The feminists who, oh my God, it's so exciting to me.
Okay, let me address everything together.
Okay.
First of all, I did not refer to killing of spouses as revolution. Usually when I get asked questions about fabrications, I don't really think to dignify that with a whole lot of in-depth or elaborate response. There was a conversation going on Facebook, and I made a comment. Someone was like, it's a revolution, and I replied under the person's comment. And there is something with the name Nkechi Bianze on Facebook Nigeria. Everyone wants to see what she's doing wrong to pick it. So they just picked it up and, ran with it. There was no time on the screenshots there was no time I said killing is revolution. I said the person made mention of revolution. I said most revolutions comes with bloodshed. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but that is what it is. And for some reason, they said I referred to killing of spouses as revolution. That is not true. I'm not going to say that is not true 100 times because it's not going to make a difference. It's simply not true. So, like, after it went on and on, I told them to sue me because all these too much talks is just annoying. Then there's another one you made mention of about the feminists who told women not to get married. She now got married. I've never told women not to get married, not once, not half times. It never happened. I told women if you're in a bad marriage, leave it. I'm against bad marriages. I'm still against it. I will always be against it. If my marriage turns bad, I will not remain with it. I've always loved marriage. My parents were happily married till death took my dad. My two elder sisters are married. I love the idea of marriage, but I am seriously against a marriage where someone is being oppressed. I think any marriage that is affecting your mental health, that is posing a risk to your life or your mental health should not exist. And that links to the issue of saying the issue of divorce is a positive thing. It is a positive thing to divorce because a whole lot of marriages in Nigeria, for instance, they are being patched because, they just want to remain married, maybe religious affiliations, no divorce. A whole lot of people are not happy in their marriages. So when we have more divorces, and I also related it to the way men treat their wives in marriages. We all know what's happening in a lot of Nigerian marriages, not all, and there is a statistic that I did not verify from that most women in most divorce cases in Nigeria, women actually fight for the divorce. And the reason is because what women used to tolerate in the times of our mothers, women are no more tolerating it now. In the times of our mothers, grandmothers, a man can go and impregnate 7 women, have children with them, and the wife will still be at home married to him. Now, a lot of women are not tolerating that. If you're not going to treat them right, they're going to divorce you. And that is where it's positive. That is where divorce is positive. And that is where I keep saying, if you're not ready to treat someone's son or daughter right as a husband or wife, stay single. Because if you go in there, they are going to divorce you. And that is the positivity of divorce. That is where my own opinion stems from, that people are no more willing to stay in toxic marriages. If you are giving them headache, if you are oppressing them, rather than stay there and be sad all their lives, they will leave. A very close relative of mine, a woman, she's passed on. She was married to her husband for more than 50 years before the husband died. Before she died, she told me that she was married for more than 50 years, but the only day she was happy, she was never happy in that marriage. She said it was only one day she was happy, the day she gave birth to her first son. Apart from those days, she said she was miserable all those years. And that's the kind of marriage I'm against. To me, such a person should have divorced 1 year after the marriage, or 2 years after. So that is what I'm saying. What the women of those days, used to tolerate, and that's the reason why there was low divorce rate then. It's not because they were happy. It is because they believe that no matter how shitty their husbands treat them, they are supposed to remain there. But women of our generation, we're not taking it to. If you treat us bad once, we forgive you once. There is an extent you get to begin to say, no, enough is enough. We fight for divorce. And yes, if you're not ready to treat someone's son or daughter well, stay single. Because nobody is getting into marriage for you to oppress them or treat them like, piece of trash. Stay single. If you're not ready to, if you want someone to be faithful to you, you expect your wife to be faithful to you, be faithful to her. You don't give what you cannot take. So yes, that is a positive aspect. I support people in unhappy marriages, people whose spouses are disrespecting and have not. And I'm not saying once they do one small thing, you leave. No, I am saying when they have done it over and over again, he cheated on you, he forgave you, you cheated the second time, 100 times, got 3 women pregnant, beat you up. It's time to go. It is time to go. It is time to leave that marriage. And that if a divorce happens in such situation, then it's a positive thing. And so I'm trying to answer all the questions all together. And the issue about my marriage, why I don't know why people get surprised when an outspoken feminist gets married. Most of the feminists I know, most of the world's biggest feminists, most famous feminists I know are married. Chimamanda, Barack Obama and the wife, the Prime Minister of Canada and the wife, a whole lot of popular feminists I know are married. So I still do not understand why people get surprised when feminists get married. My sister is a feminist. She's been married, a whole lot of feminists, even on Facebook, a whole lot of feminists, they're married. So it's still, I don't understand why people still get surprised when feminists get married. It's all about finding your type of person. I was very, very selective in choosing my husband. I knew there was a kind of shit I wouldn't take. So I looked for a man that would not give me too much shit, or if at all. So I was really selective to select the kind of person who has the same line of thought with me. At least in most cases, you won't see someone who agrees or has the same line of thought with you all the time, right? But we are in sync a lot of the times. And so far so good. I mean, I know it's just 2 months. My only regret is that I did not do it early. I think I should have done it within 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay, the Igbo men.
Sorry?
The Igbo men. They say you bash Igbo men and finally married an Igbo man.
Okay. I talked about it still goes to the issue of I've been called a man hater. I attack men. When you point out people's wrongs, it means when you point out the things that men do wrong, it means you are a man hater. You attack men. That's just similar to what happened with the women. So I will give you one instance. First of all, the first instance was pointing out, you know, when you go to some Nigerian markets, these traders will keep grabbing you.
Yes.
Right? Like in some Nigerian markets, even as a woman, some of them will grab you. A lot of women have experienced it. They will hit your breast, hit your bum, you know, sexually harass you. And I wrote an article that I have a phobia for going to crowded Nigerian markets. And because a lot of the times when I've gone, I was harassed. And what I observed is that most of the people, traders who harass me are Igbo men. The funny thing is, most ladies, including Igbo ladies, said it's true that most of the people who have harassed them, most of the traders who have harassed them are Igbo traders. And that was what I pointed out that earned me the tag of an Igbo man hater. And I really do not care. Like, I do not give much attention to people's deliberate ignorance. You know, I have pretty much been someone. I've been in several relationships before I got married, and all of them except one is Igbo. So there was a good odds that I was going to end up with an Igbo man, but that doesn't mean that if I see something, you know, that is a behavior, a habit that is like common with them, I'm not going to point it out. I always say it when you talk about Boko Haram, which people do you look at? Northerners, right? Hausa Northerners. When you talk of Abirus, the truth is majority of them are Yoruba men. And when you talk of traders that grab you in the market, majority are Igbo men.
Wow. Thank you guys for still staying with us. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. Nkechi will be back shortly so we can round off our...
Hi, thank you for staying with us on... Hi, thank you for staying with us on Straight Talk with Oma. We'll be back shortly. Hello, my name is Oma, your host on Straight Talk with Oma. Straight Talk with Oma is an online magazine program that brings divergent opinion on the issues and matters around the world and in our society.
Welcome back, Enki.
Thank you.
We're almost rounding up.
Yeah, so that was technically what ends me the Igbo men hit attack. The truth is, why we try not to stereotype, there is a fact that when you talk about racism, most races are actually Caucasian whites. Not all. When you talk about Boko Haram, most of them are men from the north. When you talk about touts and Lagos touts, Aberus and whatever, most of them are Yorubas. And when you talk about traders that grab women, most of them are Igbos. These are people's real life experiences. I'm not saying all. I use the word most. You cannot erase people's experiences, because when I made that post about 2-3 years ago, a lot of people, including Igbo women, came to say they have the same experiences. You cannot erase their experiences. So I think it's when you criticize people, they begin to tag you a hater, you know, like you criticize people that do these things, and you know, and they begin to tag you haters of those people. And I don't think such, I think it's a deliberate ignorance though, and they know what they are doing. They know it is just a criticism that is of a habit that is prevalent with people from a particular region, and that's basically what it is.
Absolutely true. True. You cannot erase that. This is very profound. You cannot erase people's experiences. And it is what I have also observed, that people don't want people to put out their own experiences on any issue. So when you come out with your own experience, oftentimes you are seen
I want to
as
point something before we round up. I want to point out something before I round up. You know, when we talk about women who maltreat ourselves, have you noticed that we always say it is mainly Igbo women? You know why I like my Igbo women? They don't come and say we hate Igbo. They don't say, Nkechi, you're an Igbo woman hater. They know it is the truth. A lot of, you notice even a lot of Igbo women will be like, I don't do it. My mother did not do it, but this thing is true. When you see a woman maltreating a house step, there is a good possibility that a woman is Igbo. I'm not saying other tribes don't maltreat, but it is more common with Igbo women. And so it is not about hating Igbo women or Igbo men. We are pointing out something that is prevalent to them. And I like Igbo women. Each time I say that maltreating on fast is more common with them, they agree with me. They know it is the truth. So they don't start saying it. But when I say something is more common with Igbo men, that means I'm an Igbo man hater. And I can't do anything about that notion.
Very true. So, NK, any regrets so far in this, in the issue of feminism and reactions and responses? Do you have any regrets at all?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Can you come again?
Okay, I said any regrets so far in the pursuit of this ideology, any regrets and all the backlash?
No, actually. Feminism is controversial. When you talk of backlash, it's controversial because when you live in a society that is screwed to the left and you come and give them an opinion that is screwed a little to the right, it becomes controversy. You're trying to tell them what is totally off the norm. Nigeria is a patriarchal society. Feminism is saying no. Nigeria is a society, patriarchal society, that believe men are superior generally. Feminism is saying no, men and women are equal as humans. So it is bringing something that contradicts with the norm. So it is bound to be controversial. People are bound to misinterpret it. They are bound to try to paint it bad. You know, when you try to paint the dog with the wrong color just to make it look bad, you know, they're bound to say. So I don't have any regrets. At least so far, I do not have any regrets. I would advocate feminism for as long as I can. I wouldn't call this regrets. We are all humans. We evolve. There are a lot of things you did 10 years ago that you wouldn't do now. They are not regrets per se. You're just growing into a better human being, right?
And a better
so
understanding.
There are ways that I have, you know, passed my opinions 5 years ago that I would do better today. And I do not call them regrets. It is me growing up. And that is, there are things you did 5 years ago that you would not do today. It is how humans evolve. We learn and unlearn. Those are not regrets. Those are just my own personal growth. So, yeah.
Okay, before I let you go, can we, is there a controversy between the headship of a man now that you're married, the headship, and the tenets of feminism, the equality? Is there a controversy between the two?
Yeah, of course. It's headship of a man is the patriarchal. In the patriarchal system, a man is automatically the head. That I do not believe. I do not believe that because you are a man, you're automatically the head. Some women are more intelligent than men. You will see a woman who is more educated, more intelligent, richer than the husband. But you think because she's a woman, the husband should be the head, even though the husband doesn't really have sense, just because he's a man, you know. No. So I don't believe in automatic male headship. However, I had a personal opinion on my own. I am really not interested in being, I believe, at certain point in time, you know, people can lead. You know, when my parents, for instance, when it came to a lot of things, my dad was more educated, you know, so he was the leader in a lot of things. But when it comes to business, My mom is the expert. My dad let my mom take charge of the business because he knew that my mom was better in handling and managing business than he. So my parents did not do this one is the head in everything. No, my dad had his strength and my mom had her strength. Where in situations where my dad was stronger than my dad took the lead. And in situations where my mom was stronger, my mom took the lead. And that's what applies to my marriage. There are a lot of things now my husband has noticed that I am better at, and he's letting me do it. And there are a lot of things that he is better than at, more things, and I'm letting him do it. I've not really been someone who is so obsessed with headship. But I knew that I was not going to let someone that I was far more intelligent than to head me. Like, I cannot be more educated than you, more intelligent than you are, more everything than you are, and you want to head me. So I took my time to find a man who was highly intelligent with good leadership skills, so that, you know, I wouldn't really mind him taking the lead because I know he's capable.
And you are holding the ATM card.
Sorry?
You have his ATM card, Nkechi.
Yes, of course I do. Yeah, I do.
And he doesn't have your own, you see?
No, I'm still considering it. I'm still considering it. And yeah, well, he noticed that I'm a better saver and better home manager. And this has nothing to do with me being female. So there are things we agreed on that, you know, but when it comes to being strategic and planning out some things, he's better at it. So I let him deal with those ones. But home management and saving, I'm a better saver.
I've had an amazing time with you, Enke. Fantastic time. And I'm sure our viewers too have had fantastic time listening to you. Again,
it's been a pleasure being here. Like, I've enjoyed the time, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. And I pray that you leave the door open for us when we get back to you on another topic of interest. I hope to have you again.
That episode will be better. I hope I'll be back I'm going back to Canada soon. I hope I'll be back there soon with a better view from my desktop. I'm using my phone now. I'm not so used to using my phone for these things like this, but I didn't come to Nigeria with my desktop or iPad or laptop. So yeah, I hope there's going to be a next time, maybe next year, next 2 years, and we'll do it better at that time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Extend my regards to your husband, my brother.
I will. All right, then.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. Bye. Whoa. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for the likes, the love, everything. Thank you so much. Please help us share this video. Help us share this video. Help us share this video. And this is Oma wishing you a fantastic week. And as we look forward to having you in the next episode of The Conversation on Straight Talk with Oma. Thank you and God bless you.